Yo, another beautiful video from this RCCH guy. He has a, what is it called, a royal knight in his profile picture. I like his videos. He mostly uploads Plants vs Zombies. That's not Clash Royale, but they're fun, a lot of fun. So let's watch.
In this video, I'm going to keep
He's
exploring
insane
the
at the
secret
game,
page
by the way.
levels in Brute Mode EX Plus, which implements many new game mechanics and
And he
unique
sounds like a
gimmicks
nerd
for
emoji,
each
but
level. Each
alright,
level is
that
interesting to
doesn't
play
matter.
through, as we have to play around the new rules that the game throw at us. So without further ado, let's begin. Category 8 Hurricane is the first level today.
Doesn't mean he's
I didn't
a
even
bad
know
person,
hurricanes go up to Category 6,
He's cool.
let alone 8. And this rainbow difficulty is also quite menacing. At first glance, everything seems fairly normal and just a typical fog level. And you know me, I always try using the classic melon pulse strategy first because it's the most versatile. Obviously, Puff Shrooms dealt with the entire early game easily, so I started up my melon pulse setup as well as tall nuts to block off pole vaulters pretty early on. That is, until a mysterious wind begins to blow all our plants to the right, messing up our defense. This means that the wind can push our tall nuts far away to let zombies straight up bypass it over time. Not only that, the direction of the wind alternates back and forth every 30 seconds. Any plants that get pushed off the board instantly die, so you can't even make use of the free space at the back. This constant change in direction is extremely annoying, since my tall nuts can't blockade for very long until zombies simply phase through them amidst the wind. There are many ways I could have gone about to mitigate the effects of the movement of my plants, like actually planning where to place my plants so they can still get good coverage. But this is just not very easy to do, since plants actually move in random amounts every time they move, so I can't even line up my defense properly most of the time. Well, since I can't bother with planning out my defense, it's time for Doomshroom again, because its placement doesn't matter. To give ourselves enough time to plant Doomshrooms, I'll be using tall nuts to block off the fast zombies in this level, the pole vaulters and football zombies to slow them down just a touch. However, since they will eventually phase through the tall nut as they get moved towards the right by the wind, we need something else to stop them from advancing too much. We can't just use blowover to make sure zombies go back to the front of the tall nut, utilizing our own wind to push the positions of zombies to offset our own plants getting pushed. Just blowover isn't enough, so we also have Cherry Bomb and
Did
Jalapeno
that
as my
bullfighter
instant kills
guy
of choice.
fault and
I
then got
specifically
blocked
chose the more
anyway?
expensive instant kills instead of Squash or Potato Mine, since we already have Puff Shroom.
Oh, no.
So doing more AoE is better against groups of football zombies. This strategy is overall very effective. Practically no zombies will be breaking through your defense as long as you have a stun available to plant more blowovers to indefinitely stall. Hell, Zombonis aren't even that threatening since they spawn so much less compared to the more dangerous football zombies in this level, which survive 2 instant kills. Flag 1 to Flag 2 was a breeze, but Flag 2 to Flag 3 increases the effect of the wind moving the plants pretty sizably. However, this increase in effect is practically irrelevant to us, since we already have so much sun saved up since the start of the level. Between Sun Shrooms and our reserve Sun, we have enough to beat the rest of the level despite losing tall nuts left and right. On the final wave, just one more surprise, which is all the plants will get sucked to the left and off the board. So you need to just make sure you have Sun for at least 2 more Doom Shrooms, but that's it. Upcoming is
Damn.
the highly anticipated game mode added to Brute Mode EX Plus.
think
A
this is part of
well-implemented
the
one at
series.
that, they
That
added a
doesn't say
tower
in the
defense
title.
minigame. Now, obviously, this level would be pitifully easy given how long this track is, so there is HP ramping implemented in this minigame,
Wait,
where zombies gain more
balloons.
HP every wave. I opted to use Gloom Shrooms given how powerful they will be
I mean,
now, being
Gloom
able to
Shrooms
cover a
is OP
total
in
of
this
7
level,
tiles by utilizing
obviously,
the loops in the track.
but this is
very
literally
similar to
balloons.
utilizing tack shooters at the turn of the track in BTD6,
Yeah.
where we can get maximum coverage of our projectiles by placing our attackers near the bends. You can also very clearly see we have Starfruits here to do some extra damage. With how the zombies are moving, this greatly utilizes Starfruit's vision as much as possible. So far, the strongest zombies, the Bucketheads, have not been making it that far onto the track yet, just down to the bottom right corner at most right now, getting absolutely shredded. However, the ramping from the second flag onwards is where things start to get really hard with an insane spike in difficulty. Suddenly, letterheads are making it past the halfway mark of the track. With zombies now starting to advance a bit too much, it's time to start using some ground zero abilities against these super tough Moabs. Wait, wrong game? Yeah, I meant Doomshroom. I also start replacing the Sun Shrooms towards the back of the track with another cluster of Starfruits to add even more damage than we already have. And it ain't looking too pretty. I am forced to keep spending Doomshroom to keep ourselves alive, and they are certainly not great here due to the limitation of space. Each Doomshroom is one less potential Starfruit. And if there is one thing I learned, Absolute Zero is definitely better than Ground Zero because it doesn't take up space. Wait, are we playing the game with monkeys or Brute Mode EX+? Even with ice shrooms, the zombies are already making it to the final bend of the track. And that is trouble for us to deal with given how close we are to losing, and we still have the final wave. With no sun shrooms left and every space being utilized for spending on instant kills and dealing more damage against the zombies, we barely survive up until the final wave here. This is the toughest wave of the level, and we can manage to resolve it by spamming several more Doom Shrooms by digging up the Gloom Shrooms towards the front for more space. And with that, we only have a few more zombies to clean up, and that's about the tower defense level complete. A very interesting level, so please tell me in the comments if you want to see this idea again, but with a different track. Wait, how is this still not dead?
Okay, nice troll, dude.
Well, knowing our issues now, I have found a way to cheese this level completely in the most brilliant way possible. Unlike round 245 bats, where you need sheer damage to tear down their massive hit points, all stalling plans still work against the zombies, regardless of their HP.
Okay.
This is why we have Blover here. A very simple look at the track shows that we can simply use the Blover in this spot right here to indefinitely stall zombies that are in the final bend of this track. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say this is cheating, but it's pretty close to when we basically cannot lose by using infinite Blovers. But yeah, pretty clearly, I think you can see how just making the zombies go around in loops will let us beat this level eventually. So our job here is done. The next level is the counter. Different to Ecclesias's the counter implementation, this one allows you to play as many of the same plants as you want, but with a global planting limit of 6. As the name implies, each plant in this level counters a zombie that appears in this level. We have Repeater, Butterpult, Spikeweed, Potato Mine, Magnet Shroom, and Ice Shroom. That's right, we have Butterpult, one of the secret evolved plants we have yet to use in a Choose Your Seeds level. You'll have to wait for next time when I actually use one of them, but I'm pretty sure you can clearly tell from what you can see yourself. Butterpults have a 100% chance at lobbing butters, making it a reliable kernel pult. Utilizing the Butterpult is extremely important in this level with the number of screen door zombies as well as ladder zombies, making repeaters not quite as useful here. My planning wasn't particularly the best here with how bad I am utilizing my stalling plants and also wasting a bunch of potato mines early on bigger zombies, making us struggle now. I end up having to use 2 lawnmowers halfway through flag 1 to flag 2. And the bad news is we still have 2 more flags to go with a limit of only 6 plants. This will be very tough. The density of zombies is just undefendable without using potato mines to at least clear out the hordes of basic zombies, so I have to spend the remaining lawnmowers too. With all these ladder and screen door zombies, it is pretty much impossible to defend off all these zombies up until the final wave with a planting limit of 6. On my next attempt, I had a better plan to make sure we had as much as possible against the tough zombies post flag 1 by keeping as many potato mines and ice shrooms as possible. These were vital for us to surviving large groups of zombies. Simply wasting them early on is not worth the value, when just slightly more repeater micro can get us through the early game. I'm also stockpiling up on Spikeweeds, so I don't need to spend potato mines on individual catapults or zombonis. Soon the first flag was in sight, and this time with a full conveyor belt of plants available to use, I don't get overwhelmed at all this time with the ice shrooms that we already saved up. Using them is still quite tricky though, since we want to extract maximum value for each plant we place, so we should only use ice shrooms against 2 waves of zombies at once. It is also important to keep using Repeater to do extra damage against basic zombies so Butterpults don't get overwhelmed, since they only have as much DPS as a base pea shooter. My loose rule of thumb for lawnmowers usage is basically to not be afraid to use one if I need to use more than 2 potato mines. Generally, those potato mines can be easily worth more later. The difference between this attempt and the last is so much when we min-max, with us still having backup instants in our conveyor belt and only 1 lawnmower used by the second flag. However, the weakness of Magnet Shroom really shows past this point with the amount of zombies being sent. Inability to adapt against hordes make it just not very desirable. We have to start sacrificing more lawnmowers when we are getting overwhelmed everywhere, and we need to focus all our firepower to lanes with our lawnmowers, by using Spikeweed for massive group damage. With that, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the end of the level. It was actually pretty well designed in terms of making a conveyor belt level not that RG based while still challenging. The next level is Glove, which, well, is another daytime level, but this time around, we do not have access to any upgrade plans, so this means no Intermelons this time around. Well, I suppose we need to compromise and use the next best option instead, which is using Ice Shroom and Imitator Ice Shroom.
What?
The theme of this level is to choose 10 pre-planted plants, and that's all we get to beat this level. The rest of the level is dependent on me using the gardening gloves effectively. Well, obviously, I restarted to play with better plants, making the best of the situation, which is when I realized there really isn't that many high DPS plants that work individually. I basically have to bring in Split Pea because hell, at least that's better than the base pea shooter or cabbage bolt when we can also bring in Torchwood.
It is pretty
And
neat.
how many flags do we need to beat with only 10 plants? 3 flags. Now this is going to be extremely tough.
Like
I imagine you've already seen the early game here while I've been rambling.
combat
Obviously,
in
the first
Plants
waves of the
vs
level
Zombies.
aren't going to be very threatening when there's barely
That's
anything to
kinda
defend
neat.
off. But the first flag is where things start getting a bit spicy. Squash zombies are in this level, and basically our only way of killing them is to very carefully move a plant so it doesn't get killed. On top of that, we also have digger zombies to contend with, and we basically have nothing but our Split Pea and Starfruit to deal with them, or we need to move our plants out of the way. Well, obviously, I can't move 2 plants at once, so if I need to save 2 plants at the same time, one is just going to have to die. It's a pretty tough level with how fast micromanagement has to be. This is the name of the game here, micromanagement. We have to manage our plants super carefully so they don't die, and also so that the correct plant is used against the correct zombie. If you thought the last level was pretty bad with the micromanagement we needed, this level is a worse version of that because of how powerful the zombies are here. And if you don't pay enough attention, you'll end up getting a crap ton of zombies overwhelming you at the second flag, as I leave a trophy dancer unattended to. Oh yeah, and the pumpkin zombies here are super annoying since you only have 1 instant kill. So, too bad if you don't have Cherry Bomb before it starts knighting every basic zombie up. After that not so great attempt at beating this level, I re-attempt with the same set of plants, but this time I'm going to try and move around my plants faster. I can use the built-in hotkey tilde to quickly select my gardening gloves instantly, instead of having to move my mouse across the whole screen to use it. However, the problem was still that we were getting overwhelmed too much even before the second flag even comes. It just seems like we don't have enough damage to defend all these zombies. It just doesn't seem like this level is even possible because of how much health the Taunt zombies have, and with our best DPS being Melon Pulse, we ain't killing them fast enough. Sure, I can stall them with Blowers, but they're just going to heal back up to full health if I deal with them later. I try again and I do my very best to do the most damage possible with the plants I have. And even just the density of the second flag is enough to overwhelm us easily. Lawnmowers are basically mandatory in this level for us to survive. And the chances of even beating the final wave seem even more slim than ever if the second flag is this bad already. With multiple pole vaulting zombies as well as squash zombies coming at us simultaneously, our micro has to be literally godlike to avoid losing any plants. Just look at how bad this is. However, there is one very clever solution to all our problems. That is, to use our Taunt to slow down new zombies instead of just letting it be the plant that is used to halt a football zombie. If I move my Taunt in front of a pole vaulter to make it use its jump, it will slow down. It's as simple as that. On top of that, I also need to activate squash zombies as soon as they come in. This maximizes our DPS output as we have less shots wasted on hitting a zombie that dies by itself. Doing this actually lets us save on a lot of unnecessary wasted Sunsweat and Clovers, which allows us to use them for the more dangerous parts of the level, from flag 2 to flag 3. However, because I kept doing the Taunt trick against pole vaulters, it actually died around the start of flag 2 after being eaten too much, so it only got worse for me from this point forward. But this is why I saved up stun from the early game. At this point in time, using Blower is critical to maximize the potential value from our lawnmowers. Each Blower is essentially one more wave of zombie in one lane dealt with, and we can also focus our firepower more in another lane while we plan for a lawnmower to be sacrificed. These tricks actually let us get to the final wave in this attempt, and it just goes to show how important maximizing the value of our lawnmowers is to beating Brutamodi X+. Before I show you the extremely difficult level, let me show you Bungee Blitz 2, which in retrospect should be also pretty hard, but it's actually fairly easy thanks to Doomshroom. First and foremost, yes, it's a choose your seats format for Bungee Blitz, and no, you cannot use Umbrella Leaf for obvious reasons, or else this level is a joke. There's nothing that's stopping us from just using the Taunt variation of the dumb strategy. The zombies aren't going to eat any faster than they usually do, so this seems like a free win again. However, ladder zombies show up after the first flag, which is a really annoying nuisance. But the most it's really doing is just eating a sunflower, and then it's already dead to the next instant kill we plant. The actual most threatening part of this level is, well, you know, there are Bungee zombies, so...
Oh,
Obviously, the Jack-in-the-Box Spongy zombies never fail to instill more disappointment. And once again, we are devastated without a way to even stop them since Umbrella Leaf is banned. To mitigate the effects of Jack-in-the-Box Spongies, I went with Pumpkin, since they store up instant kills in the form of plants, so there is at least still defense if my sunflowers get blown up. I could still lose if the Jack-in-the-Box Spongy targets the Pumpkin itself, but a bit safer is still better than not safe at all. However, the only not safe thing in this run is my Doom Shroom. I totally didn't lose that run, and I don't even know what you're talking about. That aside, I'd say it's actually pretty hard to lose this level once you know what the strategy to use is. The defense every wave is the same as any other. Just push ladder zombies away from tall nuts using a blower, and then one-shot the wave with a Doom Shroom when it comes back. And later on in the level, Gargantuars come, but then again, this is only a 2-flag level, so it's not that difficult to just stall Gargantuars until the final wave with blowers for a guaranteed victory. Doom Shroom is totally not busted, and that's Bungie Blitz 2 completed. On the talk of sequels to original levels, we have Zombie Nimble Zombie Sprint, which takes place in the Aquarium, a 5-lane level where the 3 middle lanes are water and it's nighttime. However, upon loading into the level, you can actually quite clearly see that the game is not sped up. So it isn't just a game in like a ridiculously fast speed, but something else. Well, first of which, the early game is pitifully easy. With only basic zombies and screen door zombies, just a single Fume Shroom each lane is all we need to defend. At this point, the gimmick is so unnoticeable, I'll tell you what's going on here. Zombies get exponentially faster and faster over the course of the level. Now, exactly how speedy do they get later? Keep watching to find out. However, the first noticeable speed boost happens after the first flag, where it's pretty clear that letterheads are now moving faster than usual. The threat of faster zombies is significant since Jack-in-the-Box zombies are here, which can now rush into your defense faster, which lets them blow up more plants at once. With Jack-in-the-Box zombies blowing up pretty much left, right, and center, it seems like this run is pretty dead. So, I tried again with the same loadout, but opting to go for multiple Fume Shrooms in the early game instead of a cattail to clear out basic zombies more easily. However, this level is in nighttime, so our economy is relatively weak going into the first flag, and I could not save up our cattail planter before getting overwhelmed by Dolphin Riders. Is there even a chance I can deal with these waves if my solution wasn't Doom Shroom? And also, I don't even know if the zombies will eventually go faster than we can stall for Doom Shroom to come back because, I mean, this is just a few waves past the first flag. Without cattails, it seems impossible to survive against letterheads due to their uniquely high health in comparison to everything else in this level. And by the way, this footage is not sped up. I tried again, this time with Tango Kelp. Allnuts were a bit too expensive to get up previously, so Tango Kelp should solve both our issues with Dolphin Riders and letterheads. Well, the only issue is Tango Kelp would be useful if there weren't just 3 Jack-in-the-Box zombies coming at the same time, which we have yet to find a solution to deal with them. We survived a bit longer than we usually did, but this is still pretty horrendous. Once multiple Dolphin Riders are coming at once, there really is not much I can do to stop them. On top of that, the speed boost the zombies gain also impacts the speed at which Gargantuars smash and imps get thrown. Just look at how bad this already is before the second flag. The imp is thrown super fast and also eats extremely fast. Even with a Fume Shroom attacking it alongside Cattail and an additional Puff Shroom to stall, we still die. What the heck? Since we can't defend off any Gargantuars using Fume Shroom and Cattail, we all know the only solution I can attempt next, which is using the modified variation of the dump strategy. This strategy lets us survive for longer thanks to blocking off Dolphin Riders finally to not let our sun production die. But the other problem is Jacks just explode our walls up every so often. The speed ramping also continues to accelerate after the second flag. At this point, letterheads are moving so fast that an imitated Doom Shroom can only just explode before we lose the game. Not only that, but the effectiveness of Ice Shroom and Blover will only continue to diminish when their slow effects aren't even bringing zombies back to their normal speed now. And guess what? The Gargantuars are now swinging their arms so fast that you can't even plant a Blover on top of them to push them back, since they literally die before even activating. A fast reactive jalapeno saves our soul, but this is looking pretty bad because our sun reserve is now getting dangerously low, and we're forced to use Doom Shroom again here. With both Doom Shroom seeds on cooldown, I scramble to use the last bit of my sun to use Ice Shroom and Blover to not lose against the letterheads that are charging down the board. But obviously, Blover can't infinite stall letterheads if they're moving 4 times faster than usual, so I lose pretty miserably here. The fact this level is in nighttime and forcing us to plant lily pads in 60% of the space just makes it so hard to get a strong enough economy to support the thumb strategy properly. It's the same story again. Letterheads after the second flag just move too fast and we cannot stall them long enough with Ice Shroom and Blover to get back to our Doom Shroom. Eventually, I got lucky and didn't get letterheads to come in the second flag, so I survived longer than usual. But is this even a real strategy if we're just relying on luck to bail us out? There's only so much that I can do to stall out the zombies before our luck runs out. On top of that, we can't infinitely stall with tall nuts either with how fast our zombies are now eating. The best I can do is Blover to push back the jacks before they explode our tall nuts, but that's just relying on luck even more since there's no way to tell when a jack in the box will explode. With a letterhead coming in this next wave, it's clear at this point they are now faster than chocolate pogo zombies would be in normal speed. Instant kills are the only solution against it when all other forms of damage are basically meaningless. On top of which, our instant usage has to be more precise than ever, with how fast the zombies are advancing in the ground lanes with nothing separating the zombies and the lawnmowers. With nothing back from cooldown, I'm just forced to start sacrificing the lawnmowers and poke cleaners now. I mean, there really isn't much else I can do to stop this. On top of that, the duration between each flag is also reducing over time, so even plants that stall for time cannot prevent the next waves from being sent in very quickly. Well, just look at how horrible this is. I mean, if we don't have enough instant kills, the only good solution to that is to bring something that generates more instant kills. Cop Cannon. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it was a downside to even use Cop Cannon in this case, since I only have enough sun to plant one of them in nighttime. If we can only get one of them, it's not really an advantage when we can just straight up use Cherry Bomb and Jalapeno in the 2 slots that we used for Cop Cannon instead. I tried my best to stop letterheads from infiltrating too fast by using as many Blovers as possible as soon as the letterhead enters the view of the board. But I can reassure you that it's impossible to stop them. And I just don't know how this level is meant to be possible if you can't kill the letterhead in time. Which is why I thought of using Chompers. They have fast cooldown, so the scenario where we can't get an instant kill fast enough should no longer happen. That being said, Chomper doesn't really do anything else apart from handling letterheads because everything else is so dense. Eating up a Jack-in-the-Box zombie isn't even guaranteed when they're hidden in a crowd of zombies. However, we still definitely need to use Blover against Gargantuars because we've sacrificed an instant kill that can clean up Gargantuars to not die against letterheads now. Well, I thought that means that we should now use Marigold since we don't use Cherry Bomb or Jalapeno to clean up imps. Well, it would have been a good idea if the gimmick was different. Mistakes aside, there was one improvement I made to my strategy in this next attempt, which is placing Chompers behind the tall nuts in the water, which helps deal with bald Dolphin Rider zombies. Previously, I just rely on Blover to push them away from my Sun Shrooms, but obviously the same amount of sun can just be invested into Chompers that can do it for the entire level. This is another step towards getting more Blovers, because we still need more of them to slow down Gargantuars. But even with this improvement to allow us to use more Blovers, Gargantuars still make it through all the way because of how fast they move now. It's absolutely ridiculous. At this point, I realized I needed to utilize my space better. I first tried fitting in a few more Sun Shrooms just in the middle row, as those are safe from any Jack-in-the-Box explosions. I tried to expand the sun production, but the threat that I face against speedy Gargantuars and Jack-in-the-Box zombies are just too much for me to both defend and build at the same time. If we aren't going into the second flag with a strong enough economy, we will be stuck in a scenario just like every other one so far. One where we can only cling onto life to lose later on. And I'm just slowing the footage back down to normal speed to show how absurdly fast the Gargantuars are now moving. And there clearly is not enough resources going around for us to perma-stall everything. I mean, this is completely ridiculous. Making this level take place in nighttime just makes it completely impossible to get enough to defend against the infinite stream of Gargantuars. But then, I had a brilliant solution for us to save on the tremendous amounts of sun I'm spending to defend. Remember how Gargantuars can't spawn in lane 1 in non-survival levels? I can save a lot of sun on planting tall nuts if I just use Fume Shrooms on the top lane. The only zombies that can be there have very little health, making Fume Shrooms extremely good. And I will be correct. This lets me easily get 6 more Sun Shrooms than usual, which is what I've been looking for this entire time. Plus, now my Blover only needs to be used in the bottom. This strategy is so much absurdly better than the previous strategy. I max out more than 1000 sun by the second flag, and definitely allows me to keep planting Blover off cooldown now. For once, I finally thought that there was a way to beat this level using this extremely weird asymmetrical setup, thanks to finally gaining access to perma-stalling with Blover. Well, I thought I had a chance up until I didn't.
Oi, truly imp. Yeah.
Despite me knowing what the best strategy for this level being, there is bound to be something that goes wrong with the execution of said strategy because of something I forgot to consider. That would be, to not use Doomshroom on where the Tall Nut needs to be planted, because, yeah. Can't stop a Jack-in-the-Box if I can't plant a Tall Nut. And even when I do get lucky and manage to set up all my attackers, that's not the same as being able to set up all the Sun Producers as needed in this level. Even just being slightly under the amount of Sunshrooms we had previously can cost us the game with the lack of Sun to keep perma-stalling the bottom lane. A lot of luck is also involved to hope that Jack-in-the-Box zombies don't impede our progress too often, or else we'd be stuck with a half-built economy and struggle to keep up with the pace. If you do happen to make it to the second flag with the defense that is needed to beat this level, just having that isn't quite enough. A surplus of reserve Sun is needed to maintain perma-stalling. But I just said previously that this amount of Sunshrooms is enough to keep up with the pace of the Gargantuars to let us keep pushing them back with Blovers. So what do I mean? Well, they aren't the only thing we need to spend Sun on. Something like this, a random letterhead in the first lane and me not having enough to plant a Chomper is the death of us. If you don't have enough Sun to immediately react to them, you're dead within 7 seconds of it appearing with how fast it moves. This scenario isn't a particular one-off thing. It's a constant threat to keep at the back of your mind, as simply having Doomshroom on cooldown makes you lose if you forget to plant a Chomper. On top of that, just having Sun doesn't mean not having any skill issue moments. I simply forgot to use Ice Shroom before I planted my Doomshroom here, and it was an instantaneous death. I'll learn from my mistakes and start planning more about where I want to use my Doomshrooms on the board, making sure I am maximizing the space available for Sunshrooms. Keeping all the Doomshroom explosion at the 9th column allows me to safely have Tall Nuts on the 8th column. Meanwhile, we now have to correct setup to perma-stall Gargantuars. It was a very rough late game here, as I try to keep spamming Blover and Ice Shroom to stall out the Gargantuars. At this point, it's all down to whether I have enough Sun to do all of this. With so many Gargantuars piled up towards the end of this section, I eventually can no longer keep up and spam my lawnmower, but that's about all we need to get to the final wave. Using 2 Doomshrooms simultaneously guarantees us victory against everything the game can throw at us, and we've done it. This crazy level is finally over after several hours of attempts. That's it for the next 6 levels of Brutal Mode EX Plus's secret levels. Next time, we will finally be revealing the secrets of the evolved plants and their power.
Nice job,
How powerful
man.
will they be? Well,
Pretty good.
we can only find out next time. Remember